I'm Merely Caruso. It's Monday, October 27th. Today.
I think it's good that President Trump has to squirm.
It ended trade talks with the U.S. and led to a tariff hike. Why Manitoba's premier says Ontario's TV ad was worth it. Also today, a new face.
I really wanted to be a strong voice for the community.
After a weekend by-election, meet Winnipeg's newest city councillor.
It's been a soggy start to say the least for southern Manitoba. Coming up, I'll show you how much has already fallen, how much more is yet to come, and a look ahead to what trick-or-treaters can expect when they hit the streets on Friday on Halloween.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Manitoba's premier is putting his support behind a controversial television ad from the Ontario government, an ad that shut down trade talks between Canada and the U.S. and even led to a tariff increase on Canadian goods in the States. Wab Canoe says it was worth it. Joining me now live to discuss is CTV's Taylor Brock. Taylor, why is Canoe praising Ontario and Premier Doug Ford?
Well, the Premier says it's about being first and foremost Team Canada, saying Canada can't be a doormat during tariff negotiations. Wab Canoe says the ad carries an important message that people south of the border need to hear.
We have to ensure that we're getting our message through to Americans. And for the amount of money that Ontario was going to spend on this ad buy, they got way more value by President Trump drawing attention to this thing. And by now, I think everyone has been thinking about Mr. Reagan and a long history of no tariffs between our country and how President Trump has thrown that out the window.
High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars.
This is the ad that everyone's talking about. The voice you hear is former U.S. President Ronald Reagan, a Republican, denouncing international tariffs, the type that U.S. President Donald Trump is imposing on a number of countries, including Canada. As you can imagine, Trump isn't a fan of the ad. The American president and other Republicans are slamming it as dishonest, saying it took Reagan's words out of context. On Saturday, Trump said that's why he's shutting down Canada-U.S. trade talks and is hiking tariffs by another 10%. Now, Wab Canoe says Canada has to keep pushing for the best deal possible with the states and says Canadian politicians must take a united stand. Canoe says he's got Ontario Premier Doug Ford's back on this one.
I think everybody's on the same page. We're all on Team Canada. And just because, Mr. Trump throws a temper tantrum doesn't mean that we should go scurrying back to our corners. I thought this was elbows up.
My fellow Manitobans, Ontario's TV ads present Ronald Reagan.
As we showed you last week, Canoe went so far as creating this post on social media. In it, the Premier says Ontario's ad presents the former U.S. president's views on tariffs accurately and powerfully. Now, Canoe's message today: Mr. Trump is bad for business, and that the Ontario government's $75 million ad buy benefits Manitoba taxpayers and the entire country.
All right, thanks for this, Taylor. The man was sent to hospital after a morning crash in downtown Winnipeg today. Check this out. As you can see, a truck collided into the side of a building on Smith Street. The vehicle, surrounded by pylons and wreckage, sustained severe front-end damage. Winnipeg police say it happened around 7 o'clock this morning. A man was taken to hospital in unstable condition and later upgraded to stable. The cause of the crash is under investigation. RCMP have arrested a woman in connection to a homicide. Police in Portage-la Prairie say on Saturday they got a report about a seriously injured man who had been dropped off at the hospital. The 30-year-old was pronounced dead. Mounties say someone drove him to the hospital and then left. Police found the vehicle and arrested a 29-year-old woman. She's facing a charge of manslaughter and is due in court at a later date. The search for the remains of a woman who died at the hands of a serial killer could begin at a Winnipeg landfill in December.
We're moving ahead to the next steps, which involve hiring the searchers. We've done sort of our preliminary test search already. This is very much the same process we used at Prairie Green Landfill.
Shingoose was one of 4 First Nations women killed by Jeremy Skibitsky in 2022. A preliminary search began at Brady Road Landfill in August using excavators and ground-penetrating radar tests. A search of another landfill for the remains of Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron, who were also killed by Skibitsky, wrapped up last summer after their bodies were found. Skibitsky was convicted of first-degree murder in the women's deaths and sentenced last year to life in prison. More and more people are relying on food banks in Manitoba. Food Banks Canada has released its annual hunger count report, and its findings show an alarming spike in our province. This year, Manitoba food banks averaged nearly 65,000 visits a month. That is a 17% increase from last year. And when compared to 2021, it's a massive 97% increase. 50% of the people using food banks in our province are single, with 25% relying on social assistance. However, the study also found 17% of food bank users have jobs and 60% are renters. With more on the report's findings, here's CTV's Scott Hurst.
There is soaring demand for food banks in this country from coast to coast, ultimately meaning a desperate need for just basic nutrition for so many Canadians, and not just by the most vulnerable. The latest hunger count by Food Banks Canada released today shows monthly visits to food banks have doubled since 2019, with almost 2.2 million visits in March 2025 alone. And nearly 1 in 5 people going to food banks are actually employed, meaning they have jobs and a stable income, yet are still unable to make ends meet. And officials point out that's even more troubling, as the food bank system they claim is no longer sustainable in a way it was meant to operate as a last resort, not a primary source of food and nutrition for millions of Canadians. The CEO of Food Banks Canada is concerned, despite the urgency, governments are not stepping up enough, and that poverty and hunger are now normalized in this country.
We've been saying this for years. It doesn't feel like the urgency is reaching the halls of power in Canada. And it concerns me about the food banks themselves. How can we absorb this infinite growth? But it also concerns me as a country.
Food banks are also seeing more seniors and young people. In fact, a third of all food bank visitors this past year were children. That's hundreds of thousands of children every month relying on food banks to fill their bellies. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
There will soon be a new face at Winnipeg City Hall after a by-election in Elmwood, East Kildonan. Emma Durand-Wood won Saturday's by-election, securing just over 31% of the vote. The race saw 7 candidates on the ballot. The by-election was prompted after the death of councillor Jason Schreier in April, who was first elected to the ward in 2014. Durand-Wood described her win to CTV News as surreal and said she's grateful for her election team.
I really wanted to be a strong voice for the community. I think throughout this campaign, I've seen that people really want positivity. They want forward-looking solutions. They don't want to get sort of mired in the negative, and they want a councillor that works with them in community.
The longtime community advocate and freelance editor said the job won't be easy, and there's big shoes to fill. Just over 15% of eligible voters cast a ballot in the by-election. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your very wet Skywatch forecast. Is it ever going to stop raining, Colleen?
It feels like it won't at this point, but we've got a few more hours to go in much of southern Manitoba. I'll step aside and show you just how heavily this rain is falling. It all got going very early this morning. Environment Canada issuing a special weather statement, principally for south central Manitoba, right up into the South Interlake. This is the area expected to see the highest rainfall amounts, but other areas outside of this alert, including the city of Winnipeg and out to the west as well, we'll see significant amounts of rain. A lot has already fallen. There's more yet to come. We'll take a look at that. As I mentioned, we'll look at what trick-or-treaters can expect on Friday, and we will also take a quick trip down to the Caribbean, where another very big weather story is developing right now that you'll want to know about. But first, let's take a look through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Looking right down at Portage in Maine, it is raining and 9 degrees, winds from the south at 23 kilometers an hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is 95%. Out in traffic, a little further down the road, well, this is Notre Dame first. Traffic busy there, but moving well. A little further down Portage Avenue, westbound Portage at home, there's been a crash and traffic is backed up there.
Thanks, Colleen. Manitobans are going to turn back their clocks next weekend, but some say it's time to stop. We will explain. Plus, how a Manitoba community gathered to honor an Indigenous war hero.
There is a report tonight that Amazon will be cutting 30,000 jobs and that it starts tomorrow. Reuters is reporting management jobs are being slashed, and the cut represents about 10% of Amazon's corporate staff. The last time Amazon cut this deep was in late 2022 and early 2023, when it shed 27,000 jobs. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up a fraction to 71.48. West Texas Intermediate crude is up to 61.58. Western Canadian Select is down 27 cents to 48.72, and the TSX lost 77 points today to end the day at 30,275. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
Market Watch is brought to you by Manitoba Blue Cross, group health plans for any size business.
We are now just a week away from turning back the clocks 1 hour and returning to Central Standard Time. Next Sunday, Manitoba and most other jurisdictions switch from daylight saving to standard time at 2 a.m., meaning an extra hour of sleep for many. Politicians at all different levels of government have proposed opting out of this practice of changing the clocks in spring and fall, but it remains in effect. Officials say it is good to keep road safety in mind, with it getting darker earlier during the evenings, especially after those clocks fall back. One of the most decorated Indigenous war veterans in Canadian history was celebrated in Manitoba Saturday afternoon. A ceremony was held in Petersfield to honor the legacy of Sergeant Tommy Prince, an Indigenous war hero who served in the Second World War and the Korean War. Prince was born in the community north of Winnipeg and would later move to Broken Head Ojibwe Nation when he was a child. For his exemplary military service, he was awarded 11 medals. After returning from combat, he served as a strong advocate for Indigenous rights despite discrimination.
His story reminds us that courage isn't only found on the battlefield, it's also found in how we carry ourselves in the face of injustice, how we stand for what's right, and how we lift others up. The freedom.
Nearly a dozen of Prince's family members, veterans, community members, and representatives from all three levels of government attended the ceremony.
Storytelling is so critical to helping us understand our world.
She's an Oscar-nominated director, why she's in Manitoba, and how she's inspiring a new generation of filmmakers. That and more local entertainment news in the Spotlight next.
Spotlight sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Serena Ryder, the Merry Myths Tour.
Colleen Brady is back now for Spotlight. And Colleen, in almost any job, learning from experienced mentors is invaluable.
That's right, Marilee. And emerging Manitoba filmmakers are finding out this firsthand, getting a chance to learn from an Academy Award-nominated filmmaker.
Complete withdrawal of all U.S. combat ground forces.
Rory Kennedy is the youngest daughter of the late U.S. Senator Robert F. Kennedy. Now, she's mainly known for her award-winning documentary filmmaking, including 2014's Last Days in Vietnam and 2005's Street Fight, which were both nominated for Academy Awards. She's also won a Primetime Emmy. Kennedy is now sharing her expertise with emerging filmmakers here in this province through Film Training Manitoba.
A lot of them are coming to me with ideas that they have, and they're really wonderful ideas. Increasingly, places like Netflix and the streamers are looking to develop projects regionally and locally, right? So they're both coming here to film projects that they've initiated, but they're also looking for ideas from the community and to have that really be coming, from the ground up.
Rory Kennedy is holding a masterclass and screening of her film Ethel tonight at the University of Winnipeg.
Countless fictional characters came to life at the convention center over the weekend.
Did they ever? Winnipeg Comic-Con wrapped up yesterday. Now, the annual event brought pop culture fans together from across the province, celebrating a wide range of entertainment genres from anime to science fiction. This year, Comic-Con featured over 450 exhibitor booths, offering collector items such as comics and graphic novels to fans. The event also allowed for photo ops, celebrity autographs, and cosplay meetups. Some fans were even decked out from head to toe in costume.
Honestly, I think the characters look really cool.
It's a combination of the aesthetics of the characters matching like what I like in character, like what I like visuals I like, and just being able to become the character and immerse yourself in like the role play of it, right?
The three-day event wrapped up with a musical performance from members, get this, Marilee, of the Winnipeg Video Game Orchestra, which plays music from popular video games.
Very cool. These costumes are so impressive.
They really are.
So many of them are homemade, too, so well done.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what they bring next year.
Yeah. A Winnipeg musician is back home after heading out on tour all the way to the East Coast.
Yeah, but Les Gillis wasn't performing at your typical venue. Instead, he was bringing his music to soup kitchens and homeless shelters.
I sang at the missions and the soup kitchens and the churches and the shelters. And I got to see some pretty horrific things, and I've met some amazing people. And the real unsung heroes of it all are the volunteers. They're the ones that are really putting themselves out there.
Gillis says his motivation was twofold. In addition to trying to bring a smile to people's faces, he says he wanted to bring attention to the lack of shelter space across the country and see for himself what the effects are.
There's thousands and thousands of people that are in need, and I really think there should be an intervention through our government. Should have an actual task force to deal with this issue only. It's the people of our country that really need help, and stop putting band-aids on things.
Gillis is now making plans to do a similar trip out west and eventually make a documentary about the experience.
Interesting.
Indeed.
Thanks, Colleen.
You're welcome. Get ready for some toe-tapping fun as The Voice kicks off your primetime lineup at 7. Then catch a double shot of Tracker starting at 9. It's all right here tonight on CTV. A live look down into Osborne Village. Raining on all those cars making their way southbound on Osborne Street. Very busy there. Also some folks heading northbound, you can see, but traffic overall moving well. I'll have more details on how much rain is still headed our way coming up.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Get a pass corner.
The Winnipeg Jets hosted the Utah Mammoth for the first time this season. It was a Sunday evening game at Canada Life Centre, and despite goals from Dylan DeMello and Mark Scheifele, the Jets lost this one 3-2. Utah scored the game winner with just under 5 minutes to go in the game. The Jets are back on the ice Tuesday night, making a trip to St. Paul to take on the Minnesota Wild.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Well, it really is putting it mildly to say it's been a soggy start to the day here in southern Manitoba. Significant amounts of rain have already fallen across a good swath of the south, including right through the city of Winnipeg, but there's more yet to come. And as I mentioned off the top of the show, Environment and Climate Change Canada has issued a special weather statement for areas to the west of Winnipeg. So basically, the western Red River Valley down through parts of south central Manitoba, back up into the southern Interlake. Environment Canada says about 10 to 20 millimeters has already fallen in these areas. Similar amounts yet to fall there tonight. Total rainfall amounts, though, actually in some of these places may come in anywhere from 30 to 50, maybe even 60 millimeters. Other areas, as I mentioned, like Winnipeg, will see some pretty significant amounts. So as it continues to come on down now, basically what's happening is that this system is in the process of stalling out. There's high pressure further off to the east that basically is holding this steady, if you will. So it's going to pivot and it's going to just keep on dumping rain as it just sits there. The center of this system is down over the Dakotas. That's where that low pressure is coming through, but we're on the northern flank of it. So over the next few hours, as it just spins right over our area, it's just going to keep dropping all that rain. But it should be out of the way for the most part as we get into early tomorrow morning for places even like Winnipeg, certainly out to the west. But as we go throughout the afternoon, that rain will gradually push further off to the east, some up into the north, Otherwise, northern Manitoba will be pretty quiet, relatively speaking, both tonight, tomorrow, and throughout much of the day. As we get into Wednesday, though, that's going to be the bright spot of the week, figuratively and literally. Lots of sunshine across the province before we likely see more rain. Now, I also mentioned that there is another very important weather story developing over the Caribbean. A lot of folks have been to Jamaica. A lot of folks may well be planning to go, but we've got this massive Hurricane Melissa that is about to make landfall over that country. It's expected by Tuesday morning. It is a Category 5 storm. You can barely even see Jamaica underneath these bands there. So I've circled it. There's Kingston. There's Montego Bay for reference. This storm is all headed north, and it looks like it will hit the southwest part of that country, like I say, by early tomorrow. Back to Winnipeg. Not a hurricane, but an awful lot of rain still to come, as much as 20 millimeters as possible. Mix of sun and cloud with a high of 9. It will be windy. Then we get into the rest of the week. Sunny Wednesday, 8. Showers possible Thursday. Then on Friday, cloudy. There's an outside chance of some rain showers for the Ghosts and Goblins, a high of 5 degrees. We could see showers or snow showers by Sunday. Our first weather photo takes us south of the Paw. That gorgeous shot is from Chenille. And this next one takes us to the Interlake. Beautiful fall colors. This is near Arborg. That photo is from Charlene. Email us your pics to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
The CTV Skywatch Pick of the Day is brought to you by the Manitoba Chiropractors Association. We've got your back.
Here's a story that will make you hungry. Winnipeggers got the chance to experience some homemade Ukrainian cuisine over the weekend. Saturday, dozens of vendors piled into Holy Eucharist Parish Center as part of a fall craft and Ukrainian food sale. The full-day event was put on by the Ukrainian Catholic Church's Women's League with new and returning vendors.
You got your hot dogs, you got your pierogies, we've got our little Ukrainian snack pack. You know, you go to a social, it's Manitoba thing. We got a snack pack happening. We've got people from the community helping us out.
The sale's been going on for about 2 decades and is such a hit, organizers say another sale is likely to happen in the spring. A Ukrainian snack pack.
I was going to say,
what exactly? I need more details.
I want to try one or 10.
All right, let's make an alert in our calendars for the spring. We're coming for our snack pack. All right, that does it for us this hour. Don't go far, though. We'll be back at 6 o'clock with much more local news. Hope you'll join us.